I want to show you how to make some liquid glass UIs for iOS 26 in both Figma and SwiftUI. For the Figma example, we can illustrate it using any of these images. Liquid glass effects are well illustrated when we place them on an image instead of placing them on a plain background. In Figma, you can create a liquid glass effect using a frame. If you create a rectangle or draw a circle, you cannot use those standard shapes to create a liquid glass effect. So instead, you draw a frame. Let's press F and drag anywhere on this image to draw a frame. With the frame selected, I'll go to the layer list and rename it to liquid glass button. With the frame still selected, let's go to the inspector on the right. We are going to round the corners. First, we need to inspect the height. You have noticed it has a height of 136. So let's put the same amount here, 136, and divide it by 2. With that, we get a perfect and beautiful rounded corner. Next, we want to turn this to a play button. With that, we are going to add an SF symbol. So I'll bring the SF symbol up and search for play. Let's select this one. Control click it and choose the option Copy Image As. We will leave copy as SVG and also leave symbol scale as large and copy the image. Then we jump back to Figma and place it somewhere here. The image is quite small, so what we are going to do is to resize it. To resize the symbol, let's change the selection option from Move to Scale. Then I'll hover around the bounding box. Then I'll press Option and Shift and drag the bounding box to resize it. Next, I want to change the color. To change the color, we need to change the selection back to Move. Then we go to the inspector and change the fill. I want to use a blue color, so I'll put 005FFF. That is applied to the background, and this is not what we want. We want to apply it to the symbol instead. So I'll press Command and C to undo the change. So I'll go to the layer list. Instead of selecting the whole symbol, I'll select the one inside, that is the group layer. Then I'll go back to the inspector and change the fill to 005FFF. Then I'll drag the symbol and place it somewhere here and make sure it aligns with the horizontal center of the frame. Next, I'll also add a text. So I'll press T and add play. From the left, the play button is 51. Let's make sure we have the same value. So to convert this button to liquid glass, all we need to do is to select the frame and go to the inspector. Under Effect, we click the plus button. That is going to apply a nice shadow to the frame, but this is not what we want. Instead of drop shadow, we click this option and select glass. And this is how to create your first liquid glass here inside Figma. We can move the effect to any of the images to preview it. The next thing you can do is to customize the effect. To do that, we click the button on the left side of the glass effect. Over here, we can, for example, change the angle. And as I move it around, you have noticed it moves along the frame. You can change the reflection, the depth, dispersion, and frost. So I encourage you to come here and play with any of these values yourself in order to get your desired effect. So this is how to create your first liquid glass effect here inside Figma. Let's jump to Xcode. Then we create the effect there. In the Xcode project, I'll go to the project navigator and click here and add a new file. I'll select the option New File from Template. Under User Interface, let's leave the option as SwiftUI View and click Next. Let's use the same name, Liquid Glass button, and create it. To create our liquid glass effect, let's embed the text in a Z stack. Next, I'll remove the text and add an image. For the image, I'll go to the Assets folder. Over here, you have noticed we have this image. That is the same one we used in the Figma example. So let's add the image name. I will remove the string and put a period here. Then I'll add the image name and resume the preview. The image occupies the entire width and height of the screen. However, it is a bit pixelated. So let's add the resizable modifier and scale it to fill. Also, let's ignore the save area. Now, in front of the image, we can add a button. Since we are not going to add any interactivity, let's put an empty comment here and also add a label. For the label, let's change the text to play. Then we are going to use the same play symbol, that is play.fill. To apply the liquid glass effect to the button, all we need to do is to add the button style modifier and specify it as glass. You have noticed that applies the glass effect to the button. It is a little bit small, so let's add a padding here to increase the size of the button. Next, we can also override the color with tint. Let's change it to, for example, green. Once you apply the liquid glass effect, you get the corner radius by default. If you want to override that, we need to use the glass effect modifier instead. But before that, another button style we can request is glass prominent. So let's copy this one and put a comment here. Then I'll add glass prominent. So this is the glass prominent without the tint. And if we add the tint, this is how it looks like. To customize the liquid glass effect further, we are not going to use the button style modifier. We are going to use the glass effect modifier instead. So let's put a comment here. Then we add the glass effect modifier. So by specifying that as glass effect, you have noticed we have the same liquid glass effect as using the button style modifier and specifying the option as glass instead of glass prominent. With the glass effect, we can also add a parameter. We can also set it as regular. That will show more of the background through the button. Let's remove the regular and put the parameter in. With this, we will be able to customize the corner radius. So you have noticed we now have a custom corner radius instead of the default corner radius. So that is everything we have in this video. I showed you how to create a liquid glass effect in Figma and also in SwiftUI and how to customize it further.